Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today it was a budget session and I gave you timings also as to how the market will behave. Nobody, I mean literally nobody would have given you such perfect timings. From 9:15 to 11:15 market will be slow. This is what I said. Movement will be very slow. From 11:15 to 12:30 market will be extremely volatile. From 1 to 3:30 market will continue direction. This is exactly what I had told as part of yesterday's discussion. When it comes to budget trading, I told if you are new to budget session, do not trade. If you have not traded at all, don't trade. If you want to trade, try trading with as low quantity as possible. Why am I saying all this? Understand all these concepts one by one. If you are new to budget session, I told market will have very big swings and you will go crazy. And if you are trading, I told to trade with one lot. Why am I saying this? See, market on Friday session opened gap down. So when it opens gap down, we obviously know that the last candle on Thursday session will become a supply, right? If we wanted to continue trading upward direction, we want a closure above the high which was made in Thursday. This is what we had discussed on last session itself. When it comes to Friday session, we told we wanted a closure above this. If we get rejections from here, we can plan a put option. This is what I told as part of the earlier discussions. This is how all our discussions used to be. Let's see how market behaved. Market from 9:15, see how beautifully market worked. See the timing here, 9:15 to 11:15. Market was extremely slow in one direction and market crossed this but did not give a closure. This is why I always say in all my videos that closure is very important. If we don't get a closure above this high, if we get a rejection in price and if the market does this kind of a liquidity sweep, there are high chances market will continue going in the downward direction. So what is happening here in the market? Let's understand that also. Market started here, right? Somewhere around this place. Yeah. Market was slowly moving upward direction, expecting positive news from the budget session. But market did not get positive reaction from the budget session. Why? Because as part of budget meeting today, they increased STT tax. What is STT tax? Short term derivative tax. They have increased it. This is a negative news for the market. So what has happened in the market? Market did a liquidity sweep here and gave a closure below this. So whenever we get a negative reaction whenever we get a negative reaction like this from a supply, what we will do is we will obviously look for a pullback and enter shorts. This is what we do. If you had traded, this supply was given a negative reaction and gave a closure below the previous low points. This is a significant low point before creating this breakout structure. So what happens now? This will become your supply. So the moment market comes back to the supply, we can plan a short position. So ideally our position will be something like this, keeping the swing point as our SL, and we can target the next possible open demand, whichever is available. For simplicity's sake, let's go till this demand and we will trail after this. This itself is a 4 hour position. Let's see how market behaved. I'll switch to 5 minutes time frame to show you the clarity on how effectively this trade worked out. Allowing the market to play, market tapped and market gave solid move. So the moment it crossed this particular demand, it did not react from this demand. It gave a solid big selling moves. The ideal target can be extended to the next possible swing point, whichever we had marked as part of weekly narrative. See how beautifully market gave. And the best part of this trade is see how long this trade took. It hardly took close to 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, not more than that. The moment this was swept, market gave some kind of a drama. So this is what I told, 11:15 to 12:30. When did this move finish off? 12:25 this move finished off. This is why I said these timings are very, very important. And the market did not finish after that. I told 1 to 3:30 market will continue the direction. Market retraced. See, when market retraced 110 now is a now timing. Market is in a downtrend, right? And from here the movement continued to downtrend from 25,088 to 25,780, almost 300 points downward move. Another 300 points market gave. This is how you have to analyze when it comes to news related trading. And I told very clearly, if you have not traded, it's okay. It is completely okay. If you have traded and captured this move, it is one of the best move that you can ever capture in your life. I am guaranteeing this. Nobody would have given you such kind of a beautiful timings. At least this is the power of understanding how beautifully news will play a role in the market. What is a structure saying in weekly? Weekly is saying like market was going in a bullish direction, but market reversed and is currently in a negative direction, right? And we see some small imbalance here. The low of this doji candle is 25,473. The high of this candle is 25,571. So this is the doji candle as part of last to last week session, which caused this break of structure to happen in the downward direction. And market from a weekly perspective has not broken with a closure below this particular demand whichever we had. So the trading becomes very simple if you do this kind of analysis also as part of your proper trading routine. So what is the chart saying now is market is currently reacting from a demand, right? So we will just focus on these two demands and supplies because there is an imbalance here. If you see here, there is a tiny bit of imbalance in this particular price range, right? So market can move all the way up here before going down in the downward direction. Why am I saying this? We know how the market will move. Whenever market is going in an uptrend, it always comes back to a demand and then proceeds upward direction, right? Like the how it did here. It came all the way to tap this demand and it gave a break of structure. Now market has given a closure below this, but it did not break this demand yet. So if this demand is being broken with a closure down, then we can expect further fall in the market. If this demand is holding on, then we can see a small upward movement before continuing the movement in the downward direction. Okay, so how can we plan this trade based on this? So the trade related to put becomes simple. We need closures below 25,574. That is today's low. If market gives a closure below this point, swing point, then where can the market actually traverse to is the next possible demand. Where is the next possible demand in this line of price action is somewhere here, not even here, somewhere even deep further, somewhere to this point, 23,000 is where we can actually see the market traveling from a weekly perspective. I'm not saying it is going to happen tomorrow itself, but coming weeks we can easily see a target till here because there is a gap here. This is a candle and you see a small gap here. This gap is what we call it as an imbalance, which will be obviously filled by the market before going either in continuing in the downward direction to fill further imbalances or to continue in the upward direction. Let's move to daily chart perspective and let's see how we can plan our trades and plan our discussion also from this to see any other significant points. Yes. So from a daily chart perspective, we see that there is a small gap here as well. This becomes even more simpler for us for tomorrow because the moment we get closures below 25,555, we can easily see a target of 24,174. This is how we have to plan our trade. We also see from a daily chart perspective that there is a indecision candle which was printed as part of yesterday's trade, and this indecision candle is what caused this breakout structure to happen. Yeah, so if market opens flat and goes up, the moment it taps here and gives a small negative reaction from this particular supply, we can easily take the market down. This is going to be our solid trade for tomorrow session. We are not bothered about this imbalance for tomorrow. We will be monitoring. If we get a negative reaction from here, then we can plan to take the market down. This is one option. If market opens flat and goes up, if market opens gap up, this same option becomes even more better for us, and we will plan the same kind of a monitoring if we get negative reaction from this place or from this place. Okay, this is for flat and gap up. Flat going up and gap up and we get a negative reaction. What about if market opens flat and goes down? The moment we get closures up below this, then we can see a small pullback before taking the market down. And what if market opens pretty big gap down? I'm going to avoid the market if it opens pretty big gap down. If you like this analysis, make sure to like this particular video, subscribe the channel, and follow for more such educational content. Thank you so much for watching. We'll meet in the next educational video.